All right, so I'll start Blender, and this will be our timeline and animation, basic animation storyboard kind of lesson to create an animatic. All right, so far I'm gonna go to New 2D Animation. Okay, so basically this is Blender in 2D mode. Okay, because if I zoom out here and rotate my camera, there it is. All right. So if I press 0 on the numpad, it gets me back to my camera, and I could kind of reframe. Okay, and everything is vector. So when you zoom in, nothing gets pixelated. It's vector-based drawing. All right. So what you need for next week is to transfer your storyboard here, whether you upload it as a single, which is not probably not recommended. You can just kind of do a timing on your storyboard. So we call that the animatic. Okay. If you want to see what it looks like, go check Amber's submission of homework. So she did next week's homework. So be on the just the storyboard. Okay. So it's basically like a very choppy video of your animation. Okay. So let's take a look at the interface here real quick. So if you go down here to the timeline, so when we animate in 24 frames per second. So 24 drawing makes up 1 second. So if you're doing 10 seconds of animation, which is our animation minimum, that will be 10 times 240. I mean 24, you get 240. If you're going for the maximum, which is 20 seconds, that would be 20 times 24, you'll get 480 frames. So you can change that here. So I'm going to go for the minimum here first. So I'm going to put start and end time at 1 and 240. Press enter. And now Blender knows that this highlighted area will be my animation. It doesn't really matter what you do here because I don't really set it up like this. You know, I can, the only good thing about this is that you can set your ending to your animatic or your animation with precision. So you're not kind of, it's not what we call, it's not pose to pose, and it's not follow through or creative animation. You actually set an ending, and you could see it there. All right. So once I set it to 1 to 24, that means this highlighted area, not the green one, this will be the length of my animation. Okay. So from here, I can time my animation. All right. So I'm going to go here to the stroke tab, and I have two layers by default. Okay. I have my fills for solids, lines for strokes or outline, and I can add another one here. So if you don't know what's happening here, go watch our previous videos explaining the layer system and the brush system. Okay. So here it's important that when you do your animatic, you might want to just go to each second and then actually put a numbering system on your animatic. On it's either top corner or bottom corner. It doesn't matter. But so we get a preview of what's happening in time. Okay. So if we're going for 10 seconds worth of animation, Amber, how long is your animation? How long was that we were watching? Is that like 12 seconds?
It was 17 seconds.
17 seconds. Okay. All right. So 17 seconds. And could you go back to that one, Amber, and then put a number per second for me and re-upload it, just so that we have some sort of sense of timing other than just looking at the timeline? Yes. Well, not right now. Later. Okay. So, but I'll show that real quick. Okay. So, we can go with changing the value here. All right. So I'm going to add another layer here just so that it's something that we can put it up front too. So we're going to call this one just going to call it time. All right. So what's going to happen is that when I jump to, let's say, 24 frames here, because we're starting at 1, I'm going to 24. Okay. So nothing on the first one. So I guess we could go here and then we can go Make sure you're very precise on that one. And I'm going to put in here, I'm going to go strength of 1. I'm going to put here in the corner. Okay. Actually, I'm going to go with lines right here. I'm going to create kind of like a corner time like this, and I'm going to go back to time right there, so that if I'm not going to draw anything on the lines right there, it just going to keeps going, and then it will never disappear. So here at 0, 0, I can put in 0, 0. Okay, and then when I jump to, let's say, 24, I'm going to put 0, 1. Okay, and then we're going to go 48. Okay, and then we're going to go 72. And you can use your arrow key for this, so it jumps. All right, so when we play this, it kind of shows you a visual where you at with your animation. Your animation, your animatic will not fall exactly on those 1 second increment, but you'll get an idea. Okay, so let's do one more. Go to 96. Okay, so what's going to happen here when you do your animatic? Now you're timing your storyboard, because when we're watching your storyboard, we can kind of see the sequence of events, but we don't know exactly where those are happening in time. Here, from beginning to end, and this is set for 10 seconds worth of animation. Okay, so let's say at the beginning, all right, it's I'm going to have, let's say, just a I'm looking through, let's say, a window. So at the beginning, I'm actually going to make a new layer. Okay. It'll be my, it's going to call it Animatic. All right, so let's say I'm looking through a window here. And you don't have to be very detailed like this for your animatic. However, your animatic can serve as your rough animation. So if you actually spend time on your animatic and kind of make it a little better, then it'll be easier for your rough animation to kind of happen. All right, so let's say I'm gonna zoom in on this one. Okay, all the way to, let's say, 49 frame or around 60 frames. So in an animatic, you can either show this one actually growing, or you can also draw what's going to show up there as actions. Okay, so you can put arrows kind of like where you're showing that the camera or the movement is going to be shown right there, and then on, let's say, on this one right here, when we go, let's say, 40, I can, let's say, go to edit here and select all this window right here, and then around 40 I'm just going to scale it, so I get another keyframe in there. So what's going to happen is that when we play this, all right, then you can erase your action and then change them to whatever. But the point is, you can use a lot of action lines and arrows in your animation to kind of show what's happening. Okay, or let's say, well, let's kind of super simplify this. All right, just on frame 1, I'm then, let's say, I'm doing an animatic on, let's say, bouncing a ball. All right, where I would have a ball right here. Okay, and then around frame, let's say, 30. Okay, the ball's going to be on the ground right here. Okay, but here I can put an action on the beginning where the ball is going to be. So I can put, okay, and then when it hits around, let's say, 30, I could put an action where, okay, it kind of goes up. So when we watch this, okay, you already know what's going to happen next without having to draw all those frames filling in the gaps. Okay, so then here, let's say it went up. I'm going to go right here. Okay, let's say it hit a platform like so. Okay, and then I can just show here that it's going to roll over here. Okay, but at least here we know the timing. So all those drawings that you have, you're basically drawing them in the correct timing along the timeline. And then we're using this kind of like a guide here. So where we are in time in relation to what's happening with your action. Okay, so it's kind of very choppy storyboard that kind of shows you what's happening with your scene. So how complex does it have to be? Do you have to put your background? Well, you can. If you watch our video on the 3D, you can definitely do it. So let's say on this one, I decided I want to incorporate a 3D background and go to my object right here. And if I change the, I can add my objects here. I can have, let's say, a plane. Okay. Change the color of that plane to, let's say, something kind of dark. All right, so when I go back to 0 here with the camera, I can kind of rotate that plane like so. And I could use it as a background, okay? So, I mean, you could, of course, make something more complex than the silly plane right there. But something you might want to kind of incorporate there if you plan to add 3D object. They can save you a lot of time, especially when you're just rough cutting your animation. You're just doing your animatic, a simple door that always exists because it's 3D. You don't have to draw it each time. I mean, even in grease pencil, of course, you don't have to draw it. You can just copy it. But that kind of negates that need to be busy with the background and not concentrating on the program. But this is all, it's to help you and aid you in accelerating your project. But not everyone, of course, will take advantage of that, and there will be purists and some of you, which I really appreciate it, where you're going to go hardcore and just go all 2D animation on this. Okay, so that's how we're going to create that animatics. You're simply transferring your drawing and giving it a timing all the way to the end. Okay, you multiply 24 how long your animation will be, and then you can put it right here. Okay, and you can just preview it here. How do you navigate in the timeline? It's the same how you navigate in 3D here. If you middle click drag, you can pan. You can also scroll. Okay, you can scroll and zoom in, and then middle click drag. You can also drag the horizontal slider right here. You can go specific in time by typing it in here. So I can go, let's say, 212. Okay, and pressing. Oh, yeah, it doesn't work with it. You press dot, it just kind of shows you. It selects all your animation. So 212, you still gotta drag it in there. Where's that word jump on keyframe? I need to figure it out where that is, where jump on the playhead kind of preview. All right, but scroll in, middle click drag. If you don't have a scroll, you can do hold down control, middle click drag, left and right. It does the same thing. All right, and then if you want to just zoom in on all your keyframes, press dot on the numpad and just kind of punch it in. All right, so I will stop the recording right here and then we'll take some questions.